Europe's Cataclysm, the 30 Years' War. Time, 1618 to 1648. Place, Holy Roman Empire, mainly modern-day Germany. Main causes, religion versus politics, Protestants, Catholics. The Protestant Reformation had split Europe, leaving deep-seated tensions. Kings versus emperor. Local princes wanted freedom from the Holy Roman Emperor. The Habsburgs wanted a unified Catholic empire. Foreign meddling, France, Sweden, Denmark and Spain all saw a chance to gain power. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie. Major phases. Bohemian Phase 1618-1625. It all kicked off with the defenestration of Prague. Angry Protestants threw to Catholic officials out a castle window. They survived. This act of rebellion sparked a massive conflict. The Protestant forces were decisively crushed at the Battle of White Mountain. Advantage: Catholics. Danish Phase 1625-1629. Denmark's King Christian IV, a Protestant, decided to jump in to support his fellow Protestants and expand his influence. Bad move. He was defeated by the skilled imperial armies. The Catholic Habsburgs grew even stronger. Swedish Phase 1630-1635. Enter the Lion of the North, King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden. He landed in Germany to save the Protestant cause and boost Sweden's power. His innovative military tactics led to a string of stunning victories, but the hero's journey ended tragically when he was killed in the Battle of Lutzen in Ile-de-Seine. French Phase 1635-1648. Here's the plot twist. Catholic France, led by Cardinal Richelieu, joined the war. On the Protestant side, why? To stop their rivals, the Catholic Habsburgs, from becoming too powerful. The war was no longer about religion, it was pure politics. Consequences: unimaginable destruction. Entire towns were burned to the ground, and widespread famine and disease ravaged Central Europe. Germany was devastated. Some regions lost over 50% of their population. Millions were dead. Economies collapsed, and it would take generations for the region to recover. The Treaty of Westphalia in 1648 finally ended the carnage. It recognized the independence of the Dutch Republic and Switzerland. German princes were granted more autonomy, weakening the Holy Roman Emperor. Significance: a massive power shift. France and Sweden emerged as dominant forces. The Holy Roman Empire became a shadow of its former self. This was the end of major religious wars in Europe. The focus shifted from faith to state power and diplomacy. It marked the birth of the modern state system and the idea of national sovereignty. Religion fades, politics rise, modern Europe begins. Europe's Cataclysm, the 30 Years' War. Time, 1618 to 1648. Place, Holy Roman Empire, mainly Germany. Cause: religion versus power. A holy war gone political. The Protestant Reformation had split Europe, and tensions between Catholics and Protestants were at a breaking point. But it wasn't just about faith. Ambitious kings and princes saw a chance to grab more land and power from the Holy Roman Emperor, who wanted to keep his diverse empire under Catholic control. Foreign powers like France, Sweden, and Denmark were waiting on the sidelines, ready to jump in to protect their own interests and tip the balance of power in their favor. 4 phases. Bohemian, the spark that lit the fire. It all kicked off in 1618 with the defenestration of Prague. Angry Protestant nobles threw to Catholic officials out of a castle window. They survived. This act of rebellion triggered a full-scale revolt, but the Protestant hopes were quickly dashed. At the Battle of White Mountain, their forces were crushed, and the emperor's power was brutally restored. Danish, the Vikings, entered the fray. Worried about the growing Catholic power, Denmark's King Christian IV decided to intervene in 1625 to support the Protestants. He marched his army into Germany, hoping for glory and territory. Instead, he was met by the brilliant imperial general Albrecht von Wallenstein. The Danish forces were soundly defeated, pushing the Protestant cause to the brink of collapse. Swedish, the Lion of the North arrives. Just when all seemed lost, a new champion emerged, King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden. Bankrolled by the French, he landed in Germany in 1630 with a revolutionary, highly disciplined army. He turned the tide of the war with a series of stunning victories, earning him the nickname the Lion of the North. But his legendary run came to a tragic end when he was killed in the heat of battle in 1632. Leaving the war without its Protestant hero. French politics makes strange bedfellows. The final and deadliest phase began when Catholic France officially joined the war against the Catholic Habsburgs. Led by the cunning Cardinal Richelieu, France's goal was purely political: to shatter the power of their Habsburg rivals in Spain and the Holy Roman Empire. The war was no longer about religion. It was a brutal, continent-wide struggle for dominance. Effects: Germany utterly devastated. This was one of the most destructive conflicts in human history. Entire towns were burned to the ground. Armies lived off the land, leading to widespread famine and disease. Central Europe, especially Germany, was a wasteland. Millions dead. Estimates suggest that the Holy Roman Empire lost between 20% to 40% of its population. The human cost was staggering, a trauma that would scar the German psyche for centuries. Economy ruined. Decades of constant warfare shattered trade routes, destroyed agriculture, and bankrupted states. The economic heart of Europe was left in ruins, taking generations to recover. Treaty of Westphalia, 1648, ends the chaos. After years of brutal fighting and complex negotiations, the exhausted nations finally signed the Treaty of Westphalia. This landmark agreement officially ended the war and redrew the map of Europe, setting the stage for a new era. Results: independence for Dutch and Swiss. The treaty formally recognized the independence of the Dutch Republic and the Swiss Confederation, which had been fighting for their freedom for decades. Power shift to France and Sweden. The big winners were France, which emerged as the dominant power in Europe, and Sweden, which gained valuable territory and became a major force in the Baltic. Holy Roman Empire weakened. The Habsburgs were significantly weakened, and the German princes gained almost complete autonomy within their territories. The dream of a unified Catholic empire was over for good. Religion fades, politics rise, modern Europe begins.